Yeah, I spoke to Maria the other day. They told me I could get my show back. Yeah, they gave ODG his show back, so he's getting paid. Why can't I get paid? What the hell is this shit? Hi. Welcome to Best Top 5. I'm your host, as always, Best Guy, the guy who everyone loves here on YouTube. Fucking dropping notes. So, for today's episode, we are talking about shark movies. Sadly, there's not that too many good shark movies. There's a bunch of shitty shark movies out there, but there's not too many really, really good ones. And I came up with a list that I think most people would agree, because you've seen those Sharknado movies, Sharktopus, Two-Headed Shark Attack. There's a bunch of them. I've seen most of them, and they're awful. Please stay away from them. But at an honorable mention, I have a great shark movie, and that's Shark Tale.
Shark Tale.
Yeah.
Will Smith.
Yeah, that's his best performance ever.
Yeah. I'm gonna say even better than The Pursuit of Happiness.
Even better than Finding Nemo. But no, honestly, no, it's not an honorable mention. The Rule Number 5 is a movie that came out in 2003. That movie's Open Water. Open Water is a type of movie that people either like it or they hate it. I've never seen someone in the middle who's just like, yeah, I kind of liked it. People typically hate it because you don't really see a shark in the movie. Spoilers, you don't really see a shark in the movie. It's just two people in the water and they're trying to survive after a vacation gone wrong. And it was done for a very low budget. It was submitted to Sundance and it won that year's award. And the movie's really good. I like it. It's done well for a low budget film. It creates a lot of tension. It uses a lot of what another film that's on this list did. Just don't show the shark that much and create tension with good directing and good editing and pretty decent acting. Of course, these two people who are the main characters in this film aren't exactly Academy Award winning actors, but they do pretty well with what they're given. Movie's available on DVD and Blu-ray. Do not watch the sequels. They made two sequels at a bigger budget. They were both released by Lionsgate. They're not really good. I think one of them is even a prequel, and they're not worth watching. Again, shark movies are hit and miss. Most of them are a miss. But number 4. So I looked again through all the shark movies on IMDb, and I just could not think of anything better to put here than Jaws: The Revenge. No, I'm kidding. Jaws: The Revenge is an awful movie. I've tried watching that several times, and it's so bad that even one of the actors in the film, Michael Caine, he said that he was drunk throughout the whole filming of that movie. He doesn't remember it. And so much to say that he even used that money. Like, he said in an interview, like, I don't remember making that movie, but I do remember the house that I bought. So joke aside, the real number 4 here is Jaws 2. Jaws 2 was not directed by Steven Spielberg. It was directed by someone else. And it's actually directed by two different people. And here's a curious thing. Roy Scheider, who reprises his role from the original Jaws film, actually had a clash with one of the directors. And he had a very different vision for what the movie was supposed to be. That it was supposed to be more in line with what Steven Spielberg did in the first movie. If you revisit Jaws 2, notice how it's two movies in one. There's one movie, which is basically a retelling of the first movie, in which Roy Scheider, Chief Brody, has to convince the town of Amity that a shark is coming. And no one really believes him. And in part 2, the same thing happens. But this time, it doesn't really make much sense, given the fact that he was right in the first movie that a shark was coming, and he stopped it. So why won't they believe him again? So of course, you have scenes with the mayor and Chief Brody, in which they're talking about how it would affect the money that's coming into the town, and the fact that by closing the beaches would eliminate tourists from coming ever again, especially with the events that happened in the first film. And for it to happen again would be catastrophic. So it's all about money. You can use an excuse. But then the other half of the movie is just pretty much a Friday the 13th movie in the water. Think about it. It's just a shark killing off teenagers who are having premarital sex. That's all it really is. And you'd say, with all this criticism, why is this number 4? Well, because surprisingly, there's a lot of good use of practical. There's even more footage of the shark, which it's both a good and a bad thing. The good is that you get to see the shark work better than it did in the first movie. The bad is that it's counterintuitive. In the first movie, the fact that you don't see the shark creates more tension. In the second one, you see it a little bit more, and while it does look more effective, in my opinion, it kind of hinders the movie a little bit. That's the only reason why this movie, while I do enjoy it, is not higher on this list. So now we're going into number 3. Number 3 is a movie that was directed by Jean-Claude Serrat, who is a director of Non-Stop, also directed Run All Night, a lot of movies with Liam Neeson, which are the post-Taken films, which I thought were pretty good. And he actually directed a very effective shark movie known as The Shallows. Now, The Shallows was also very much like Open Water, that people either liked it or they hated it. There's no in between. And when you watch the movie, pay close attention to the fact that everything looks pretty authentic in the sense that you feel like you're in the water, but in reality, a lot of it was done in post-production. All that water that you see in the background, all that stuff that you see her, swimming, it was all done in a studio. There are some scenes that are in the shore which were done live, but everything else was done in post-production in a green screen. There's really good behind-the-scenes footage that you can watch on the Blu-ray. But the movie is basically someone who's vacationing and she's being attacked by a shark. The thing with shark movies is that you can't do much with the story. It's either someone has to kill a shark or someone surviving from a shark attack or preventing a shark attack from happening. So it's a very simplistic story, but what the director does that is so good is that, again, you don't see the shark too much. And that's a really good thing that he could have shown it a lot more given that they have really good visual effects. But the shark, for the most part, you do see it, but not as much as other shitty shark movies that I've seen in the past. The movie has Blake Lively, who does a really good job giving us this character who's strong but also scared for her life, trying to defend herself from this shark. I like the movie. If you give the film a chance for what it is, a shark movie, you'll enjoy it. So that's my number 3. Number 2 is a movie that came out in 1999, and they actually did a sequel this year to it, and I saw it. Please don't watch the sequel. The movie on this list, though, is Deep Blue Sea. I'll talk briefly about Deep Blue Sea, too, in a little bit. But Deep Blue Sea came out in 1999, and it has a pretty good cast. It has Thomas Jane, who you may know from The Punisher and from other movies like Kill Shot, and he also was in a Stephen King adaptation for Netflix. And it has also LL Cool J, back when LL Cool J was more known in film. And the story here is these researchers are trying to find a way to make humans smarter, and they, for some reason, think that the smart way of doing it is to infuse it into sharks in order to find cures to Alzheimer's and stuff like that. And they find that the sharks are getting smarter, a little too smart, because now they are going to kill the people in this facility where they were studying the sharks. The plot, again, is not very smart. Some of the CGI for that time was really good. For 1999, the CGI was really good. Of course, when you watch it now, some of it doesn't make sense in terms of physics. Like, you have sharks doing these swift turns that they wouldn't do in real life. And the way they attack are kind of exaggerated. But you have to take it with a grain of salt, given the fact that in this film, which is very science fiction-y, you have sharks that are super smart, so you kind of have to suspend disbelief. There are some dumb moments, like you have the actor from The Exorcist: The Beginning, Stellan Skarsgård, as one of the doctors that is working on the sharks, and he places his hand really close to a shark and gets eaten. The movie also has Samuel Jackson in a very famous scene that many people have seen now, even in memes, where Samuel Jackson is saying, "Enough is enough! We are not going to fight anymore! We're going to get out!" And then, of course, a shark comes in.
Now, you've seen how bad things can get and how quick they can get that way. Well, they can get a whole lot worse. So we're not going to fight anymore. We're going to pull together and we're going to find a way to get out of here. First, we're going to seal off this.
Just like The Shallows, if you don't take the film so seriously and enjoy it as a shark movie, and enjoy it as what it is, a science fiction horror movie, you'll have a good time. Now I was going to say that I was going to briefly mention Deep Blue Sea 2. In 2018, we got a sequel to Deep Blue Sea that no one asked for, and I saw it for free. Deep Blue Sea 2 is the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen. It's not really a sequel. It's literally a remake of the first one on a lower budget. Again, you have a facility, and they even use stock footage from the first movie of the facility, and they have these scientists working on a shark, and they're trying to find cures. Only this time is that they're not working. Oh, the shark's DNA alters also the babies that they carry. So now you have little baby shark piranhas attacking people. It's ridiculous. I saw the whole thing and I was laughing from beginning to end. If you want to watch it for that sense to laugh at, then I guess you'll have a good time, but it's not a good movie at all. But Deep Blue Sea is worthy of watching, and I put it on this list. So what makes it to the top number 1 on this list? Hey, you know, like I said, there's not that many good shark movies. And I mentioned Jaws 2 in this list, and it wasn't going to make it higher to the list, but there are other ones that are better. And there's one that tops it on this list, and that is Jaws. Jaws is not only one of the best shark movies, it is literally the movie that defined the blockbuster. Before the 1970s, when this film came out, blockbusters weren't really a thing. You had movies that would come out, they would play in a theater, and they would go to other local theaters, and they would die out. With Jaws, it was a film that played in the theaters for over a year. This was a movie that broke records and made a lot of money, and not just a lot of money, but it also, even to this day, brings in the fear of people not wanting to go into the water because you might get eaten by a shark. This is a movie that made that thing popular, kind of like with Friday the 13th. No one wants to go to camping because of that movie. Jaws accomplished that. It made people scared of the water. And actually, if you want to conquer that fear, they're actually going to be doing a screening of the movie in the water where you can actually get a little floaty and watch the whole movie in a big screen. It'd be really weird if a shark passes by and goes, "Hey guys, can I join and watch my ancestors on the screen?" That's my bad joke of the day. Don't worry, you can edit it out if you want to. So those are my top 5 shark movies. As you notice, these are the only really good ones. All the other ones, like, you know, Sharknado and all that crap, I guess people enjoy them. I've tried watching one of them, and they're just bad for being bad. They're not really enjoyable to me. There are some out there, like The Last Shark, which is almost a scene, it's literally a scene-by-scene remake of Jaws that can be enjoyed for that comedic sense. But those Sharknado movies and Sharktopus, they're just bad movies for the Sci-Fi Channel that don't really deserve to be put on any list whatsoever other than a shit list. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, and after you subscribe, hit that little bell button so you can get all the notifications of all the great videos here and dropping loads. Remember, it's just not me here on this show. There's other people. There's ODG doing great reviews. You also have Dorky doing Wake Up! And then you have Adam doing unboxings, and you have SPJ doing his video game reviews. So make sure to watch all those videos, and until next time, bye.